Hey guys, it's Cody. So, this week we only had one attempt at recording the podcast, and it didn't turn out quite as planned. We had someone back out, they had an emergency, so we got some last-minute replacements. They were kind enough to join us. Unfortunately, their specialty is not RPGs. This episode is far more fluff than crunch. We expect to be back to form in 2 weeks. Thank you for your patience, and have a good one. Ah! Look out for Megazord! Welcome to the RPG Maker General Podcast, or the rpgmg, your one-stop shop for everything RPG Maker. This is Cody, aka Marpix, and with me today is Karb and I.
Hey, it's me, your meme queen.
Friend of Carbonic and freelance artist, Nolan.
Hello.
And freelance artist we grabbed off the street for a four-man band, Spo.
Hey, it's me.
Got some news in the RPG Maker world today. Yanfly has some new tips and tricks, including Overkill from Borderlands 2. So if you combine a couple of his plugins, once you kill an enemy, you can take the leftover damage that you didn't need to kill them and apply it to your next attack. So there's no such thing as Overkill anymore. You can just keep stacking it up, baby. It's like Singular. It rolls over.
That's interesting.
The more you know.
Yeah.
That's it's just more of a thing for the devs out there. I know we have a couple non-dev listeners, but yeah.
Yanfly got the suggestion from someone who found it on Borderlands 2. So I think it's really cool that we've got basically all the plugins we need for game dev, so now we can move into fun stuff like that. And then maybe eventually we'll get a Bloody Mess plugin so that when you kill an enemy in an RPG, it explodes into a bunch of little pixelated chunks.
That'd be cool. I do like those little details where there's like pixelated stuff and they have kind of like physics to them where they like bounce. You know, like example would be the hot dogs that like are stacked on your head in Undertale, and then when you like jiggle the keys a little bit, like the hot dogs all fall off and they just bounce everywhere. I think that's really cute.
Yeah, that's something. Actually, physics, like a very slight physics engine, would be a very nice thing to add to RPG Maker. Just because, I don't know, I mean, I've become very distant from RPG Maker itself in the past few months, and...
Just moving on to other types of game-making software, or...
Yeah.
Yeah, RPG Maker is like, it's kind of like the easy bake oven of game makers, because there's not much you can do with it, you know, if you're looking for deeper programming or physics or, you know, pixel placement, because most everything in RPG Maker is tied to a grid. But you can still make some good shit in an easy bake oven. That's not to say it's not a valid cooking device. But once you get better at cooking, maybe it's time to upgrade your equipment.
Yeah.
Also, in news, speaking of you, Carbonic, your game dashboard got an update recently, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. I made a pretty major update. Changed all the graphics up, mostly. Except for the face graphics, which I am currently working on updating right now. Go check it out if you already own it, and if you don't own it, then I guess buy it.
Carbonic, when can we expect the next dashboard DLC?
You mean DLC or just an update download?
No, DLC. I want an expansion pack. I want new levels, new skins. Get that.
I would say I don't have any full plans for that. I've been more just thinking of adding on more and more free content over the next few months, but if I ever think about that, that would definitely be way down the line.
Alright, sounds good. I can't wait.
I'm not the biggest fan of paid DLC, so I try to just give as much as I can to people for free.
What you should do is make like the worst DLC possible and like clearly just you didn't put any effort into it whatsoever and just see if people buy it.
It's actually more expensive than the game.
Yeah. just like
Get the dashboard season pass.
Yeah, the dashboard season pass and all
Make
of that.
early access.
Yeah, early access. You get the updates like a day before they come out.
They're all free updates. It's just like one day earlier.
No, you do a special
wait,
DLC that adds voice acting to the game, but it's all you just reading the script. I can't stand for this. Die, monster.
That'd be pretty great. What game dev actually did that? Whereas like you'll get updates super early. Was it Bethesda? I feel like they might have done something slimy like that.
Well, there's so
Would
many
you
devs
really
doing
be?
the season pass thing right now. I couldn't tell you.
It does seem like something Bethesda would do.
I don't think Bethesda has ever recovered from the horse armor incident because they still mess up their DLC.
I don't think Bethesda has recovered from any of their shit. Like honestly, like I like some of their games, but they're pretty shady when it comes to most of their stuff.
That's the problem with having a modding community that's been around for, 5, 10, 20 years, is because you know for a fact if your game isn't perfect when it launches, the modding community will fix it and make it better. So they put the map down, they put the quests in, and then they wait for other people to add the horse anuses or whatever.
And the Rainbow Dash mount that everyone wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they made like an official mod that let the Space Core into a Skyrim, and that kind of made me want the Skyrim game, but I never got it because my PC can't run anything. It can't even run Sonic CD. Like it glitches out really
What
bad.
really?
Yeah,
God.
I can't run Sonic CD.
That's pretty.
Like this version.
That's depressing, Nolan.
Yeah, it is. That's why I'm saving up for a new game computer. So if you guys want to
Nice.
commission me, email me at nolan.baker95@yahoo.com, all lowercase, and you commission.
Plug yourself like that, Nolan, you little slut.
Do you think I care? Do you think I give a flying fuck?
I think
Well-
you should.
Don't worry, Nolan. We'll put your like contacts in the like where people can find you in the
Tasty.
description.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
So be sure to commission Nolan for his good art.
Yeah. We've moved on to the point in the show where, Carbonic, you haven't been here in a while. Is there anything you wanted to comment on over the last couple podcasts? We went over party dynamics. We went over, what the hell was the last podcast? It's been a while.
No, I don't have anything to say.
Not on boss fights either?
Don't make damage sponge things. Don't try to make a boss fight harder just by giving it more HP, because that's dumb.
No.
Truth.
Yeah, that's awful.
What's that one boss in one of the Final Fantasy games that has like something like 200 million HP or
You
something?
mean all of them?
It sounds like a Final Fantasy thing.
It was something like where there was a save point like near the boss, so you could like stop like mid boss and like start it up again.
What the
It was like it was like Hideo Kojima levels of like this boss needs to last 5 days.
Would that maybe be, I think it was the diamond weapon or the ultimate weapon in FF7 where you had to beat it 4 or 5 times before it finally died?
Here, I'll look for it. Keep going.
But yeah, damage sponge enemies and bosses are awful. And when you have a damage sponge, you're forcing a player to do the same action over and over and over again, which reveals how shallow your mechanics are. And no matter what your game is, no matter how enjoyable it is, if you force your player to, cast fire 9 turns in a row, or buff attack, heal, then they're going to get bored. It doesn't matter how cool the art is, how great the music is, if they aren't enjoying what they're doing because they're doing the same thing for 5 minutes on end, then it's not worth it.
Yeah, I think the only time that's ever really acceptable is like maybe during like the super bosses, like Culex and Mario RPG or something, where it's just sort of like it's sort of an end game fun thing, not something you have to do to complete the game.
Yeah. It's Yzmat from Final Fantasy 12. He has 50 million HP.
Literally, actually.
Yeah. I'm trying to see how much it takes, how long it takes to... Because the most damage you can do is 999.
Don't you mean 9,999?
Yeah, 9,999.
And so you do just under 10,000 damage. So this is technically, 50 attacks? This is attacking this guy 50 times at max damage
Oh,
to kill him?
no, it's way more. It's,
Here, 50 million, 0, 0, 0,
God damn
0.
it. I have to be doing that wrong.
Yeah, you are doing it wrong. 10,000 for the sake of rounding it up and having an even number. You have to attack him 5,000 times.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
that's what it is.
But 5,000 plus because I rounded it up one.
The shortest time I've seen someone doing it without glitching was 2 hours, which is yeah. What did Hideo Kojima say recently? He wanted to have like a month-long boss.
No, that was forever ago. That's when he made the boss fight The End for Metal Gear Solid 3. He wanted it to last 2 weeks, but people were like, that's a terrible idea. Don't do it.
But now he has his own studio, and no one can tell him what to do.
Man.
That's a terrifying idea.
Yeah,
I like how
I think
funny,
Hideo Kojima is one of those creators that needs wranglers.
Yeah, it's funny though because it's technically not really an indie. It's an indie studio, but it has like official support from Sony. So it's like, is he really indie?
Yeah, not really.
Yeah.
What were you saying earlier, Nolan?
The End is still a lone boss fight, but I just kind of won by using the thermal goggles and shooting him with a shotgun and just chasing him.
The way my friend beat it back in the day was he looked up a guide on game FAQs and found like the 5 or so spots where he would sit and then snuck up behind him for the camouflage.
Yeah, I never got the camouflage.
Like either he's here or I'm dead. Rinse and repeat till it works.
So what's the deal in MGS3 with the ladder? Was it?
It's just meant to be like a break from all the madness. It's just like to reflect on your journey. You just climb up this long ladder while the theme song plays, like a quiet, like a cappella version of it plays.
Oh no, I'm looking at
300-foot
it now.
ladder.
It's 2 minutes of climbing up a ladder. It's a bit extreme.
Worst boss fight ever.
No, it is a boss fight if you played on European Extreme. Like if you aren't at full stamina and you don't like eat in the middle of it, you'll fall off and die because of the stamina bar.
Holy shit. Defeated by a ladder.
My God.
Oh man, what if that was like the true ending to a game? Like your hero comes, the main character comes super far and defeats all odds and is like beat by a stairwell.
They just fall down. They just like get up to the last stair before the boss door, and they fall down and die. And that's it.
You know, that's what I do if I were a boss. Like, I don't want to have to fight you. I'm gonna make the biggest fucking staircase on the planet, and you just have fun. You know, good luck.
Just make a Super Mario 64 endless staircase, but it never ends. And you can't unlock it.
Jesus Christ, that was insane. Anyways, boss fights don't make damage sponges.
One last thing. Do you think we're in the dark future where Hideo Kojima is revealed to be the Japanese Tim Schafer?
Oh.
No, he hasn't done Kickstarter yet.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, no. Well, we just have to wait until he's like, Death Stranding won't happen unless you give me $2 million.
Well,
Yeah, that's funny. That's not how it happened because with Shenmue 3, Sony was like, "Yeah, give us money, you fucking losers."
God, what a travesty. I don't think anything like Sony should ever have a Kickstarter.
No.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's going good for Sony right now is the games division.
Yeah, so they shouldn't be using Kickstarters for it. They should just be putting their money towards it rather than making Adam Sandler movies.
Exactly.
Speaking of Adam Sandler movies, my sister is starring in one as an extra.
She's starring as an extra.
Yeah.
I think my
role.
sister was an extra in Batman v Superman. I think. I could be wrong.
Now you guys have connections all the way up to the top. The subject is grinding in RPGs. No one has built a better way to advance characters and give the illusion of progression for an RPG quite yet. Almost all of them revolve around an EXP bar and stats going up and your characters learning new abilities or getting new classes and skills. So how do you have games that do it so right and so many more games that do it so wrong? I'm going to bring up an ancient example because it's rather safe. You know, people have learned from this and they've moved on. You have both Final Fantasy II for the NES and Final Fantasy Legend II for the Game Boy, where you use a strength-based attack, your strength could go up. And there's the rub, is that it could go up. So every battle you are trying to use the right abilities to maybe get your stats up. And that is the literal definition of a Skinner box. You don't know whether or not you're going to be rewarded, but you do it anyway. And I feel that because there is a lack of tangible reward, the player will eventually get frustrated and quit, like I did. I actually didn't beat FFL2 until a couple years ago when I emulated it, game sharked my characters to match stats, and blazed through the final, like, eighth of the game. Like, I don't have the patience for that
cheater.
shit.
You're a fucking cheater. You're a loser.
Hey, you know, it's 2016, people. I don't have all summer to play through one shitty cartridge, okay? I'm an adult. I have a life.
He said on the podcast about RPG Maker. Okay.
All right. I do have a lot of problems with grinding in RPGs. I don't think I've ever really had too much of a problem with like main game stuff, like post game, like those secret bosses and whatnot have been an issue sometimes. But I remember there was a time when I got to a point, and again, I said this off the show to Carbonic, but when I used to be an idiotic little teenager, and I was just getting into RPGs, and Final Fantasy XIII came out, I played the game through once, and I got to Vanille's Eidolon, and I couldn't get past it, and I was at a spot where I really couldn't grind anymore, because the enemies were just so poorly balanced, and it was just like, I can't fight anything. I don't know how I got this far. So I played through the game again and like grinded so hard. And another thing that like is awful about grinding sometimes is level caps. Like, yes, we will cap you at a certain level so you're not too strong for our next level, just to make sure, you know, you have to grind some more.
Yeah, for Final Fantasy Origin, which is FF1 and 2 on the PS1, they did a great job with that, where you don't even get to play the original difficulty of FF1. You start off on easy mode, and the experience you get it's a significant percentage higher, and just by going through the areas normally, you get almost enough experience to level up and keep up with everything you face. And if you need, you know, if you want much better equipment, or if you want certain magic spells earlier, well, you can grind a little bit for the extra money to do so.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd rather have the choice to do the modes, though. I think one of the worst series for grinding is probably earlier Pokemon.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, so, the way it works is because, like, you can't have more than one Pokemon out at a time. It means you have to basically grind 6 times over.
Yeah, I mean, in X and Y, they kind of fixed that by making the experience share, like, give experience to all your Pokemon, but at the same rate. It also made the game incredibly easy, because your Pokemon would be, like, level 20 by the time you're at the first gym.
Yeah, it's... I don't like the fact that they haven't come up with any other fix for it, but, like, I know that earlier Pokemon games are stupidly easy if you grind, and stupidly hard if you don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's really not
like Red and
the
Blue or
greatest.
Soul Silver, like Red and Blue specifically, or like, you know, Gold and Silver also.
Yeah, we went over this in podcast 6, actually. I made a cute graph and everything. Let me see if I can find it.
Fuck. Anyways, I remember in Pokemon Emerald, you can just run straight through. You can just run straight through it until a certain gym where it completely wipes your shit if you haven't been grinding. I think it's the 3rd one.
Oh, yeah, because, like, the second town has, like, the 5th gym leader in it for some reason.
Huh.
Wow, I can't even read this. I don't even know what to think of this graph.
long and short is that Red and Blue have one of the highest grind requirements out of all the Pokemon games. And Yellow cranked it up even further. With Gold and Silver, because there were 16 gyms, spoilers, instead of 8, the grind was significantly reduced. So the only real challenge for most people was probably Whitney's Miltank, which is stupidly hard. But yeah, see, again, with those older games, Red and Blue, you're in 4th grade or whatever, you have this one game, they're going to make it last by making all the, all the level requirements really high.
I mean, I've never really had problems with grinding in Pokemon, because basically what I do is I would never use repels, and that would sort of negate the necessity to grind, because you could just fight all the random encounters.
Yeah.
You'd usually, if you do that a lot, you'll be strong enough to take on whatever's around you.
I think I've just realized that one of my main problems with Pokemon is that the battle system is very samey.
Yeah.
Like, there's not many exciting battles in the game.
Yeah,
where like, oh, this is a big thing. It's like, even when you're fighting the Elite Four, or the final battle with, like, whatever the team is, it's still like, oh, it's just another Pokemon battle. Same as the other ones. Nothing changes.
But I mean, like, especially with Pokemon Red and Blue, I think the main thing that they were trying to go for is they were never made for you to carry an entire team throughout the entire game. They kind of wanted you to, like, catch different Pokemon around the area. That's why they would, like, put ground types like Cubone and Marowak around, like, Koga's gym, or put, like, electric types around, like, electric and grass types around Misty's gym and stuff, because they wanted you to, like, they didn't want you to go through with the exact same team or anything, except for maybe your starter.
No one does that. No one does
exactly.
that.
I mean, no one
Everyone
does it.
Everyone just gets their team, like, early on in the game and just sticks with it because it's the best tactic.
I mean, yeah, that's what everyone does, but I don't think that was the original plan for them.
You present an interesting
developers.
point. Yeah, because you can get Pikachu in Viridian Forest, and then Misty is the water gym. The only thing with that, though, is Viridian Forest is on the other side of Mount Moon, so if you jump over the ledge and you didn't get a Pikachu, you're fucked. And also, if you picked a starter that wasn't Squirtle or Bulbasaur, you were also fucked, unless you could get Mankey or Nidoran, which you could get neither in Red version, if I remember correctly.
Well, I think it was one or the other. I think it Nidoran in Red.
Overall, the early Pokemon games, especially Red and Blue, were not very well designed.
Yeah, but I mean, they were kind of the first, so...
Yeah.
What you can expect.
Yeah, I think they did grinding in a good way with Red and Blue. They had a good idea with both Abra and Magikarp, where they start weak and useless, and you can switch them out and give them the experience. And that way, you're bonding with the Pokemon because you see its struggle, you have to work with its struggle, and then it becomes a Kadabra or a Gyarados and starts kicking serious ass. And
basically.
Yeah, and you get, level 15, 20, that's about a safe, low range, and then anything after that I think would be downright frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys know any other games that are particularly bad with grinding?
I mean, the original Mother 1, I've been playing that a lot, and it's like you basically have to fight every encounter you run into, like Earthbound Zero or whatever it's called. It's like, because the difficulty will scale so high. Like in Mother 1, literally as you leave your house to fight like the very first enemies, you can run into an enemy called Wally, who's basically like the strongest thing ever and can one-shot kill you if you're not prepared. So it's like, it's very ruthless with its enemy placement sometimes.
God damn.
Yeah. I mean, I think Earthbound did a pretty good job where,
well, Earthbound was like kind of scaled down in difficulty because Mother 1 was considered to be so hard.
Yeah. Although Earthbound didn't, or was it Mother 3 that did it, where if you were a certain level, it would just immediately win a battle as soon as you went into it? Like if you were...
That was Earthbound, yeah.
I think that's an interesting way of doing it. You'd still get the experience, but you wouldn't have to waste your time with a battle you'll win.
Yeah, it's like, I'm surprised not many other RPGs do that. It just seems to make a lot more sense.
Super Mario RPG actually did that. If you collected a star, you could just run into enemies and book it, and then you could just level up.
Oh yeah, that was a thing they did. What do you guys think of that? Because that game's been mentioned twice already.
I like Super Mario RPG. I mean, I feel like a lot of it spinned off a lot of good games like Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely by far the most traditional Mario RPG there is.
I mean, it's like it was in like Square helped make it and stuff.
Square did make it.
Oh. That probably explains it.
Yeah, they owned the rights to everything that they made, which means like Geno, Mallow, Booster, all that other stuff.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Mario RPG, again, it had a very pleasant curve because you didn't really feel the grind in that game. You leveled up basically to where you needed to be, and then if you fought everything in an area, you got a little bit more than you needed. But, by the end of the game, you were probably level 25 or maxed out at 30. And you could still beat the game whether you kind of walked through or if you actually killed everything you saw.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. The max level was 30 in that. That always weirds me out when like the max level in an RPG is so like small.
Oh yeah, we were talking about level caps earlier. There was another thing about Pokemon that I don't like is the stupid thing where there's a certain level where Pokemon will just like not respond.
Oh yeah, because you don't have the gym badge.
Yeah, I fucking hate that because like it means like they keep telling you need to grind, but you grinded too much. Now you can't use your Pokemon. Grind another one.
Karb, the only reason you're mad about the level requirement is because you are a filthy cheater. Your Pokemon, the ones you train, will always obey you. But if you ask your friend for his high-level Pokemon to plow through the game, it ain't gonna listen for shit.
Yeah, well, you gotta be a cheater.
Wait, is that true?
You bought one of the cheat code books at Walmart.
I didn't. Yeah. I asked my mom to buy me a cheat code book when she was in Mitchell's.
That doesn't even sound real. He went to Mitchell's.
Does not sound like a real store.
I think it is.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Next topic.
Yeah. So.
Next topic, please.
Yeah. So level caps. I think for the true grinding fan, if you have nothing else better to do, Disgaea really nails it because the level cap is no longer 99; it's 9,999 for each of your characters. And then there's the classes, the abilities, the weapons, and then Item World, where you can level up your items. They have a whole special battlefield for your items that you can go into and level up each one individually. How much grinding do you need in your life? Now, I understand, some people may find it fun, but 100 years ago, we thought Christmas carolers were a good idea. The times have changed.
That's a pretty good sell on that game, I have to say.
I don't know. Overall, grinding is bad. I think we can just like preface this entire whole topic by just saying, or not even preface, just like finish it off by saying, grinding bad. Don't do it.
One thing I would like to mention though is that there is like in I hate to bring up the popular Stepford Child, but Undertale, like people praise the grinding in that game because it's subversive, and I'm just like grinding is still grinding though.
I mean, the genocide run is so like bad in that because it's not like it's just sort of like you go to a book and it says like 58 remaining, and it's like, all right, well, I guess I have to keep walking around in circles until I kill 58 froggets or whatever.
If you make a stupid design decision, even if you have context, even if it's done, for a reason, it's still a dumb design decision.
Oh, I kind of hate it when people are like, "Oh, the gameplay is meant to be bad." Then what's the fucking point? Why should I play it?
Yeah, have you guys ever played Spec Ops: The Line? Like, the gameplay isn't that great, but then there are... And, like, I love the game. I do. I love its message. I love what it's trying to do. But then there are the hardcore fanatics who are like, the gameplay is meant to be bad. It's meant to be a criticism. And I'm like, bruh, chill. No. The gameplay just isn't that great. We can just... I can still like the game, and I can still admit that the shooting needed work.
Yeah.
That's when it's really like... I guess it's sort of a subjective thing where it's like when an artist puts something out and you're like supposed to like interpret it and you're like, oh, that's what they meant, and it's like, do you have proof though? And then it's just like it's all left up to interpretation. So you gotta like be like that guy who's like, do I want to admit that they might be this smart, or are they just dumb and they just kind of mistakenly did something that seems smart?
Yeah. Have you guys ever played or heard of the Beginner's Guide?
No, what's that?
It's a game available on Steam, which was made by the guy who made Stanley Parable.
Oh, God.
It's like a large collection of very small games made in, like, Unity or something that, like, are in the storyline of Beginner's Guide, are made by some aspiring dev, and this guy is narrating over them and being like, oh, this is the deep meaning behind all of these design choices. But, like, it's all... The whole joke of the game is that, in the end, all of the things were just personal things that the narrator applied to it, rather than anything on purpose by the dev.
Do you feel that's like kind of the every story is Jesus in purgatory kind of thing?
What?
It's a thing on TV tropes where literally every story is about, like, people being trapped in purgatory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, fan theory stuff, or like that sort of creepypasta trope?
It's like literally everything. Every single story could be broken down to, like, Jesus in purgatory. Someone give me a movie real quick.
Batman v Superman.
See, I was scared you were going to say that one, because that one is literally about that, because Zack Snyder, who is a painter, actually made several allusions to the parable of Christ in the film, including the spear that pierces Superman, among many other things that 4chan has pointed out. But, I mean, like, or like Final Fantasy VII. Oh, there's a guy, and he's going through bad stuff, and then you have his metaphorical resurrection as the leader of the party, you know, because the story of Jesus is so broad. People can apply that to almost anything. Or like there was a creepypasta about Ed, Edd, and Eddy, and how they're all in purgatory, but they're all kids from different time periods in the United States trapped in this cul-de-sac. There's no parents, there's no escape, there's no hope.
Nolan, you know that theory, right? You've probably heard that.
What, the everyone in purgatory theory?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the most common creepypasta theories, along with Angelica is the only Rugrat.
Oh.
What?
Oh, yeah. Explain it, Nolan.
Angelica is imagining all the Rugrats because she has a mental disability or something.
Oh, sorry.
And, like, the only other baby that exists is Dill, and he got a, like, brain hemorrhage or something because he got dropped, or Angelica beat him or something. It's really too edgy, and it all sounds really stupid, and I hate it.
Yeah, now, do you think the creators intended that?
No, the creators intended to make a show about fucking babies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, given that storyboard, Jim, it might take that literally.
Yeah, and then some edgy faggot decided, oh, hey, I can come up with something, and it'll get really popular, because other edgy faggots will think, oh, I can, it's really dark, that means it's for adults, so I don't have to feel bad about watching a show meant for little children.
Yeah.
You guys...
I kind of I'm tired of people trying to apply more meaning to things than is really there. I mean, I understand it's fun to do, but, like, I've kind of, over the past few years, gotten really tired of cartoon theories. Like,
yeah, totally.
This is the true meaning. This is the true meaning behind Chowder. Chowder is actually dead. He was baked into a pie. Literally, he was torn apart by Mung and killed.
Hey, bear with me a second. We could shift the discussion because you guys, you know your cartoons. You probably know your stories too, right? I'm gonna take that as a yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games as a teenager was Final Fantasy Tactics. It was one of the first in my young experience to talk about like religion and how the church could be wrong and how you should be questioning things. And it had nice edgy lines like, "Don't blame us, blame yourself or God." It was perfect for me at the time, and I still think the game holds up, even if some of the dialogue is a little bit cheesy. Have you guys ever played a game, you know, that was right for you at the time, or like it hasn't aged as well as you thought it would?
I mean,
that's a good question.
Yeah.
I guess this is a toughy one.
Yeah, like especially narrative if you can, or like you can draw it into like cartoons or whatever.
Ooh, I have one. Some of the Kingdom Hearts games haven't aged well at all, especially the fucking DS ones. The only good thing about 358 over 2 days is the final boss theme. That theme is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I would say that the first one for me never did really age well for Kingdom Hearts.
It's so different from like the other games are so action RPG, and then the first one is just like it feels like a turn-based RPG without the turn part.
Yeah.
So what was it about 358 over 2? Because just that title alone tells me that it's one of those Kingdom Hearts, like, it's one of those fan fiction tier titles.
It honestly wasn't, the story itself honestly wasn't as fanficky as the other ones get. Like, Birth by Sleep is objectively the best game in terms of story and characters because it doesn't have the fucking sequel baggage bullshit. But 358 over 2 days has just a much more standard plot, which isn't saying much compared to other Kingdom Hearts games. But basically, the story is about like Roxas joining Organization 13 and the whole year leading up to the tutorial level in Kingdom Hearts 2. Then there's also this mysterious girl Xion, Xion, for those who want the spelling of that magnificent name. It's just the story of how Roxas, Xion, and Axel are friends, and like how they go through their days in the organization. And it's really funny because like the organization is really weird. Like you learn how it works. Like they have fucking days off, and it's just like that's just such a fucking weird thing. Like why would the organization have a day off? But then it's just Roxas fucking dealing with that, and like goes from sounding really stupid to just becoming really charming, and it's just like, okay, whatever.
Is it a game that's supposed to like sort of make you sympathize with the organization guys something like that?
No, it's meant for you to sympathize with Roxas, Axel, and Xion, because they're like the only good people in that organization.
I see.
It was the Leech Grave was a shitty boss fight, but other than that, it was just whatever. It was a mad game. It was filler. Because I don't really think it's had much bearing on the plot. And I know that really doesn't fucking matter because Kingdom Hearts. But it was okay. Like, again, go listen to the final boss theme of Vector to the Heavens. It's one of the best, like, boss themes ever. Especially because of what it, like, symbolizes.
Is that the Kingdom Hearts game that perpetuated the sea salt ice cream thing?
Yes.
God damn it.
I actually kind of want to shift something over because we kind of done a bit over of what we can do with the grinding. This might be a bit hard. What is your favorite adaptational video game from, say, like a cartoon or animation?
I can't think of one. Most of them have just been really bad.
Oh, yeah. What's your least favorite, or what's a funny one?
I remember getting the I guess Nicktoons Unite is an RPG. Spo came over one day. I made him play that just to be a dick, and he's like, "This is literally the worst thing I've ever played." I'm like, "I know,
We're having
right?"
a good time playing Shrek 2, and you wanted to change it to that BS.
You wanted to play Shrek 2.
I know, that's what I was saying. We were having a good time playing it, and then you had to change it to a stupid meme game.
You guys ever played Shrek Super Slam?
Yes.
I haven't.
Played at tournaments.
Yeah, it's got its own tier list and everything.
We hosted at Evo.
What a masterpiece. Yeah, the Nicktoons Unite games are kind of like what pops into mind when you think of bad
is weird because they're like their own IP. Like you would think there would be some effort put into it because it's like there's like no spin-off TV show or anything. It's just its own thing. Why would
Yeah.
they do it if they're just gonna do it shit? I don't know.
I don't know. I remember I bought Nicktoons Unite Globs of Doom.
Game that killed the series.
I bought that game because it had Invader Zim in it, and I really liked Invader Zim at the time.
I like how that game like portrayed Zim as a hero, only because he's the main character, and like it'd just be weird if Dib was hanging out with the heroes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird to like compare that to how he looks in 2D because I feel like they definitely could have done a better job of making a 3D model out of Zim.
I mean, they made better 3D models of him in the actual show back, like, probably years beforehand. Yeah.
When did Globs of Doom come out? I think it was like 2009.
Yeah, it's
2008.
Funny. Yeah, it's funny though because like you'd think with a game where it's mostly 2D characters, you'd think they'd cell shade it.
They
But-
don't though.
Yeah, they
It's
don't. And like
If they
as
went
the-
for like a Wind Waker look, it could have been good looking, but
yeah, like I'm pretty sure you could have done a good job with cell shading, but you know.
I remember they did it with some characters, but not all for some reason.
it's so weird to include Zim in that game anyway, because by that point, Invader Zim had been canceled for 6 years, I think. I guess they might have been trying to cash in on the whole like Invader Zim Hot Topic thing, and I guess it worked.
Oh yeah, no, Nickelodeon is the king of like blue balling and Invader Zim Invader Zim fans.
Are there any other cartoon games? I know Ed, Edd and Eddy had a game.
Oh man, if you want cartoon games, you have to go back to the Super Nintendo era. There was Animaniacs, Rocko's Modern Life, All Real Monsters, Ren and Stimpy. The Ren and Stimpy game for Genesis was pretty baller. Depending on who you controlled, you had a different special attack on the C button, I believe. Like Ren would ride Stimpy like a horse, and then I think Stimpy used Ren as a pogo stick. It was cool.
Oh God! I'm sorry. I'm remembering the Ed, Edd and Eddy game, and I'm remembering Kevin.
Eddie's really bad.
I'm remembering Kevin's model in the game.
God.
Oh no.
Man, did you guys see that get run at SGDQ? Man, just seeing that in motion was a thing of beauty.
Man, it's like, I don't know. I don't know why these licensed titles are so bad at like translating 2D to 3D. Because like even two-dimensional characters have usually some form of three-dimensionalness to them, like when they turn around and stuff. I can sort of understand for Ed, Edd and Eddy where like the show kind of had an ugly aesthetic, like on purpose. But when it comes to like Nicktoons and stuff, I don't see how you mess it up as bad as they did.
I want
Cook
to
in
talk
the
about
house.
my favorite, my favorite adapted video game, Batman. You have Batman for the NES and Batman for Game Boy. I still have Batman for Game Boy on my shelf, matter of fact. You control Batman, obviously, and there's probably at least 4 or 5 different types of gun that Batman can shoot. And then there's power-ups for the guns, and then you can collect batarangs that rotate around you and absorb bullets. And then if you get hit, instead of losing a life, you lose a batarang. Even the Angry Video Game Nerd praised the NES Batman because it's very good for the time and the technology. Like, when they made the Batman games, they didn't fuck around.
Yeah, I especially like the Sega Genesis Batman game, though. I thought those were pretty good. Sort of the Batman, when he also kind of has a gun in it, and I mean, it's really hard, but it's sort of like Ninja Gaiden-esque, sort of like the original NES one.
Is that the one for Sega CD where he had the grappling hook and all that stuff?
No, I think it's Sega Genesis.
Well, no, I mean, but that's an add-on. Like, there was a Batman Returns game for Sega, and there was a Sega CD one where, like, you drove the Batmobile, like, down a fake Mode 7 road. I had that one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then if you lost, like, the penguin's face came up on the screen. It was really scary and disturbing.
Oh, yes.
We're talking a lot about Batman
You guys
today.
fucking haven't mentioned the first 2 Arkham games.
Oh yeah, there's that.
with arguably the most RPG elements in it.
Oh wow, Nolan's dissing us at our own game. Wow.
Don't play Arkham Knight though. Arkham Knight is boring as shit.
There's something that came out. Oh yeah. I remember a lot of people give praise to that one SpongeBob game.
SpongeBob movie.
Yeah, Battle
that
for
one,
Bikini
and
Bottom.
also, yeah, a lot of people say that's a good game, but I've never played it.
For the music in it's really good.
Have you guys ever played Stick of Truth?
No, I have not. I'm not a big South Park guy.
I haven't. I probably should, though. I really liked how they made fun of Europe, because there was a couple things that they couldn't have in their game in Europe, so they put these stupid pictures of, like, statues or koalas crying, like, oh, it sucks to be you, Europe.
Yeah, those are really great. Although it's weird, though, because in the game Berserk Muso, which is coming out soon, they're apparently toning down on the sexual violence, but they're not toning down the gore over here, which doesn't make much sense to me. Because, like, over here we've had a lot of sex stuff, so I don't get why they're doing that.
Because Europe is still, like, the anti-gore place, and America is still the anti-sex place. As much as I want to think that I'm liberal and open-minded and can choose my own content, there's, 49 other states, and most of them are like the flyover, backwater, nowhere, Trump 2016 kind of states. America's huge.
Oh man, now you're just reminding me of that one image that's like, people don't know how big America is, and it's just a couple smaller Americas inside America.
It's a recursive function that grows to infinity.
Anyways,
With this group here, we'll dial it back to an older episode kind of thing. What was your guys' favorite RPGs you ever played? Nolan, Spo, either one can start first.
Spo?
Favorite RPG, I would have to say, despite everything we said on it, probably Paper Mario Thousand Year Door.
Whoa!
Basic bitch.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nolan. Why don't you tell me what your favorite is then?
I do not know. I'm gonna probably also be a basic.
Don't chicken out now.
I'm gonna be a basic bitch and say either Kingdom Hearts 2 or Birth by Sleep.
oh wow.
Yeah, I do not play that many RPGs anymore. I used to be way more into them. But I want to get into the Xenosaga games, but I don't think those have been re-released, and they are very, very expensive.
You could just emulate them.
Do you think my fucking computer, the one that cannot run Sonic CD, can run a PS2 emulator?
I'm sorry, Nolan, I forgot.
Forgot
Nolan.
Is literally made out of meatloaf.
My computer is made out of meatloaf.
He's got a router plugged into a lemon, plugged into a monitor.
Very slowly shows the internet.
I have two PS2s. One is completely broken, and the other one runs fine. The problem is the games are expensive. Xenosaga 1 is like $50, which is fine. I could pay that. But then 2 and 3 are like hundreds of dollars or more, and I'm like...
You can just burn it to a disc, because the PS2 doesn't have... Like, I don't think the PS2 has very strong pirating stuff. So yeah, you can just get the ISO or ROM and just put it on a disc.
And that's a good idea. I should do that.
With those niche RPGs, it's like with Suikoden and Dot Hack, like, the collectors know you're going to buy it anyway. If you really care about that series, then nothing's going to stop you, not even $200 and your leg,
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about, like, a Suikoden, because I got Suikoden 1 way back in the day off of eBay with some other games, but then, in the current year, Suikoden 2 is over $100, and that's nuts. It's a PS1 title, and it's over $100. Like, it's not hard to yar-har that thing. Now, imagine a universe where you couldn't pirate PS1 games, how much Suikoden 2 would go for. It would probably go straight to a museum.
It'd be in the Smithsonian. They'd push over the Mona Lisa and put that in the frame.
You have National Treasure, the next one, Nicolas Cage breaking into some embassy in Kyoto to take the final copy of Suikoden 2 that ever existed.
Oh god, you know what I hate? That made me realize, or just remember, I really don't like galleries of video games, as in, like,
Like art galleries.
As in, like, the video game Hall of Fame type of things, where you come and you see, like, a box. This is
Take
Super
$80.
Mario Bros. It's a famous game.
It's the
It's like
Super
that.
Mario Brothers Duck Hunt combo. I'm sure you've never seen this before.
It's like you don't even get to play them. They're just, like, in these display cases, like a normal museum.
Well, Karb, if you go to, like, George Washington's house, you know, it's all restored and pristine and whatever, you don't get to sleep in his bed. You just get to look. You don't get to experience it how George Washington did. I'm sorry.
It's different, though, because George Washington isn't a fucking video game.
It's not different, though, because a bed has a purpose. Why would you stare at a bed? Nobody stares at a bed.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cody? Do you really want to fucking do this with me?
I'm starting a fight right now.
Fucking murder you. Fucking cut your head off.
I'll stab you in the back while you're staring at your bed.
Fuck off.
This is getting violent.
Fuck you. I'm coming for you, Cody. Watch your damn back. This is the final episode. Cody's gonna die and he's not gonna record anymore. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed our podcast because this is the final episode and I'm gonna fucking murder Cody.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck, this is quickly degenerating.
I wonder if we're at our not legally required hour yet. Fuck it, I'm
Sure.
pulling it anyway. Thank you all for listening to the RPG Maker General podcast. Yeah, thank you for surviving this. This is Cody. We'll see you all again soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Fuck
Bye.
it. You ruined it.
This whole thing was a travesty. Stop the recording.